WWE 2K25 have just dropped their new Rule Beyond the Ring trailer, which confirms many new characters for the roster, surprising arena additions, new features to game modes, and a little tease of the island, and so much more. So let's get into it. So to start off the trailer, we've just got a couple shots here of Roman Reigns during his new entrance animation. This shot of Solo Sikoa looks insane, by the way. It is a brand new face scan model for Solo Sikoa, but I think considering the year that he's had, it's awesome that he's been able to get a new character model this year. I've seen people put this model against last year's model, and people are saying that like this is one of the best single year improvements of any character model in any WWE game. I have to admit, Solo's model this year is looking really realistic. But hey, graphics aren't everything, bear that in mind. It is also about the fun of the game, although it's good when the games have both. We then get our first look at Randy Orton. Not really much to say. I think it's a new scan. Either way, it's looking amazing. Definitely looks like Randy Orton. Not really much else to say about that one. So here's one of the biggest surprises of this trailer, the inclusion of the new Raw on Netflix Arena. I did not expect them to get the Raw Netflix Arena in there so quickly. The turnaround on that must have been so fast, but hey, kudos and thank you to 2K for being able to get that current Raw Arena in the game, helping everything feel just a little bit up to date when the game eventually launches. I saw a lot of people saying that this Rey Mysterio model and Nia Jax model is from 2 years ago or last year. They haven't updated the costumes for these characters. I don't really mind that as much because really, Community Creations exists for this exact reason. People can update Rey Mysterio however they want. And for Nia Jax, she actually does have a new model in her Crown Jewel attire, and I guess you could just edit that model, and if you wanted to do Community Creations and just put her into a new outfit, you could just do that. So some people have been ragging on Sami Zayn. He's the next character model shown in this trailer. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think the attire is accurate, and yeah, okay, maybe his face is a little derpy, but I mean, it looks like Sami Zayn to me. I don't have any issue with it. So maybe my expectations of the character models don't match others, but I mean, this looks like Sami Zayn to me. So next we get a shot of China versus Eddie Guerrero, of course harkening back to their, I think it was 2000 or 2001 storyline, but obviously showing off the new intergender wrestling mode that's in the game. And this arena is in the new SmackDown arena. We get a shot of Jade Cargill during her entrance. This has been shown during the Royal Rumble press event. She is wearing her tag team outfit with Bianca Belair, although Bianca's not wearing the green attire either, which is probably a good thing, all things considered. Talking of Bianca, here is Bianca Belair. Again, if you look at the barricade around the ring, you'll see it's the new Raw arena, the new Raw Netflix logos, and the ring mat is in fact black. Now, interestingly, I wonder if parts of this trailer have actually been recorded at different parts of development. The only reason I say that is because this shot here and another shot of Nia and Rey have the Raw Netflix arena with the black ring mat, and it has the WWE logo on the ring mat. But there's other shots that have the Raw Netflix arena later in this trailer that don't have that, and I just wonder if it's like oops, we kind of did that like mid-development and we just didn't have time to change it in the trailer. But I mean, I'm really nitpicking, it's not like it really matters. So we get another shot of Roman Reigns being thrown into the barricade by Seth Rollins. As the trailer continues, Seth walks across the railing and jumps onto Roman from the barricade. One thing is cool, new inclusions, new features, walking across the barricade and diving off. We've had confirmation that you can actually customize the move that you're doing when you jump off the barricade. I think I saw Sol Ruka doing like a 450 splash, and honestly that just fills me with so much joy because I want to go back to that time when you can do those kind of moves, those fun flippy, nonsensical moves off of the barricade, even if it doesn't make any sense. It's just fun, and I'm really glad that in 2K25 they were able to bring back more of that fun factor this year. And since I'm an arena guy, I think it'd be disingenuous if I didn't mention the fact that they are showcasing here the new SmackDown arena. Although the corner posts are wrong, but again, could very well be a thing about development. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the new SmackDown arena that debuted on the USA Network last year. So I'm going to try not to play the video because the audio will get me copyrighted, but this is a section from the 2K Showcase mode showing The Rock, who's going to whip Cody with his belt, and he says, "Get up, boy," or something. Again, just showing the fact that this year has animated cutscenes for Showcase mode that no longer rely on the slingshot tech, where you see all these blurred faces and censored moments and different camera angles and no commentary but dramatic music. All of that's gone. It's now just rendered in the game. It doesn't take you out of the game. You still have to put the controller down to watch the cutscenes, but I still think that's a much better way of recreating these matches than watching these weird, edited, blurry, real-life footage in between the gameplay action. Here we see Nia potentially doing a Royal Rumble elimination on Macho Man in the SmackDown arena. Not really much more to say about the SmackDown arena other than the fact that this arena seems to have the correct corner posts, which again makes me think that these footage clips are taken at different parts of development. One thing I have seen people say online is that the character model for Macho Man is the same as previous years. Now, he is a legend, there's only so much you can do with it. I do think someone like Macho Man had such a wide range of attires, costumes and themes for his years as an active wrestler. They could probably pick some more flashier outfits for him. I know in previous years they did have the Macho King, which is another grey costume for Macho Man. Again, it could just very well come down to community creations, could just create another version of Macho Man that has a better outfit for sure. But again, we're really nitpicking. The fact that Macho Man's in the game and he doesn't have that bald spot anymore, I think those are the real wins we should be celebrating. This is actually my first time watching this frame by frame. I have seen this trailer a few times, but this is my first time going through it like frame by frame. And if you look beyond Nia here, you can see your first glimpse of some new wrestlers that are presumably being announced for the game here. You've got Finn Balor on the left there, who's looking bruised to hell. I don't know what has been going on to him, but he's looking like he's proper done in by this match. I'm assuming that the person wearing black and gold could be someone like Nikita Lyons. I don't recognize them. I don't recognize the outfit, so apologies if I'm wrong there. On the right there is Piper Niven wearing a really faithful rendition of her kind of warrior outfit that she's wearing currently in SmackDown. And then behind Piper, I can't quite figure that out. She's wearing, it looks like a woman who's wearing red. So it could either be B-Fab or maybe it's Xia Li. I can't really pinpoint it, but yeah, I mean, those are some cool looking boots. Just continuing the footage on a little bit, I've been able to go frame by frame, and I'm pretty sure the person in the back there is either Xia Li or Roxanne Perez. Don't remember Roxanne wearing red, but then I don't watch NXT that much, so I don't know. And I'm pretty sure the black and gold is Nikita, but again, could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong, but that's who I think they are. I think it's Nikita Lyons and Xia Li. So we get our first look at the Backstage Brawl arena for the WWE archives. I've already done a full breakdown from the footage that was released from the Royal Rumble press event. So if you want to see some of the backstage areas and some of the secrets that are in there, check out that video. I'll put a link to it just above me right now. Oh, you know what? This clip here probably proves the fact that that is Roxanne Perez in the previous clip. Regardless, this is Roxanne Perez. I guess she did wear red, and I just completely forgot. Here we see Roxanne Perez fighting Kalani Jordan in the NXT parking lot arena. Traffic Cone is a brand new weapon this year, and it's got a brutal animation with it, so you should definitely try that when you start playing the game yourself. In this case though, it's just Roxanne throwing the traffic cone using the mechanics from last year. With the throw mechanic, you can throw any weapon, and yeah, it clocks Kalani in the face and she falls. So the trailer is showcasing here that Nia throws Io Sky into the shelving, and then it drops all the items on the shelves to the floor, and you can use those items as weapons in the Backstage Brawl. Is this also our first time seeing Io Sky? Probably is. Anyway, Io Sky is confirmed for the game. I don't think she needed to be confirmed, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, we get some more shots of Roxanne Perez actually doing a taunt. It's kind of hard to show here, but at this point in the trailer, Roxanne is doing a taunt with the cone, which basically sees her like swinging it above her head. It turns out that you can do that with the really big prime bottle at ringside, but you can also do it with the traffic cone. And the taunt does damage to those around you, so if you're surrounded by people and you've got one of those weapons, you can actually do that taunt and just swing your weapon around and it'll hit everyone, which is a really nice feature this year. Some more clips of Chyna versus Eddie Guerrero. You can get, not really much to say here, but you can see some of the damage on Eddie's back, which is presumably new this year. Here's a basically blinking you miss it thing from the new Raw arena, which is what I was talking about before. This shot here confirms that we're getting the WWE logo in the middle of the ring, but we're not getting into the sponsorships around the ring, which makes sense because sponsorships involves money, agreements, signing lots of paperwork. Even just this week on Raw, they had the WWE logo in the middle of the ring. This proves that you're probably going to be getting that for the base Raw arena in 2K25. Again, just going to cover it for the sake of completeness, but yeah, Rhea is suplexing Dom here in the new Raw arena. You can see the black ring mat, but there's not much else to say, so moving on. So let's get through another couple clips there just of Rhea and Chyna doing damage in their respective matches, and it zooms into a shot here with Stone Cold Steve Austin flipping the bird. Great model, Steve Austin, as always. I'm really glad that they made this model a couple years ago, I believe. Last year or the year before also featured an older Stone Cold model, which I'm presuming is probably still in the game. This is like the 90s Austin flipping the bird, which is pixelated. It's caused a lot of drama online. I'm going to presume, playing devil's advocate here, it's only blurred for the trailer and it won't actually be blurred in the game because it hasn't been blurred for a couple years now, and it would seem really weird to start that now. So here we see Yokozuna hitting the bonsai drop there on Hulk Hogan. A couple of really interesting things to note. The inclusion of an old WWF arena is great, so kudos for that. You're also getting a retro King in the Ring arena from 1993. I don't know what that red triangle is on Hogan's armband. I presume that was there at the show. I can see reference to the fact that Harvey Whippleman was Yokozuna's manager in this match. Disguised as a planted photographer, he jumped up on the edge of the ring, but I don't see him here, and I don't think he's ever been in a WWE game, so it'd be really interesting if he actually does appear this time. Although, in the footage though, we can see a new model for Jimmy Hart, wearing full Hulkster gear, looking very kind of WCW themed there. And here's a very blink you miss it kind of shot here from the trailer that shows potentially a 2K showcase cutscene where Yokozuna holds up the WWF title at the time with Mr. Fuji at ringside on Yoko's side, and then Jimmy Hart on Hogan's side with Hogan selling on the outside. We get a clearer shot of the in-ring models for the retro versions of the Usos. I say retro, that's pretty sad to say, but these are the 2017 models where they face the New Day. If you're also so inclined, it's also confirmation that those horrible tag team titles return in this year's game. Really not a fan of those horrible blue and red kind of coined shaped titles, but hey, they're there if people want them. And again, showcasing the new 2K showcase, the Bloodline Dynasty, we see a recreation from this year's or last year's WrestleMania main event where The Undertaker interfered, chokeslammed The Rock. Potentially confirmation of a first-person camera as well for this scene, which is a little bit odd, but hey, it's very video gamey. I kind of like it. I'm curious to see how it plays out in the actual game, but it's very cool to see this kind of first-person angle as The Rock goes up for the chokeslam. I think it's also very cool to see the referee react exactly like Charles Robinson does with his arms in the air. I think that's very, very cool as well. And we can see Cody there looking on as he's, waiting for his spot, essentially. Confirmation of the Underground match, or not really confirmation, I guess, just showing it off as a new gameplay feature. If you didn't know, Underground rules means that there's no ring ropes, which you'd be surprised can really change the flow of a match, because the ropes are kind of important in a wrestling match. But it basically means there's no bounds, you can go out of bounds, and it also has this really interactive crowd that slam in the ring mat and they react to the things that are going on within the match. I saw a really cool interview with Derek Donahue, the lead combat designer for WWE 2K25, and he mentioned that this edge state where characters are like on the edge and they're like waving their arms was like one of the really cool new features in the game for this specific Underground match. And from this state you can actually run and like hit your opponent off the apron, or you can spear them off and it'll actually affect the crowd around the ring. Or you can grab them and do like a kind of move. In this case, Becky's going to grab her and do like a back suplex. Now, one of the things I want to know, I did actually tweet WWE Games about this, but they haven't responded obviously, is whether you can do this off the top of the Hell in a Cell. I would love to be able to do these kind of moves off of the Hell in a Cell. At the Royal Rumble press event, actually, there was someone who had tried, it was in the IGN footage actually, they tried to run, as Rhea, they tried to run and spear someone off of the apron in an underground match, but it reversed, which led to Rhea basically just taking a dive outside of the ring. And I just thought, man, if that was like a Hell in a Cell, that would basically mean the person dives off the cage, goes through the table as a reversal. Oh my god, this needs to be added to Hell in a Cell, 100%. We also get our first look at the Bloodline rules match. Now, everyone who'd gone to the Royal Rumble press event had said that the Bloodline rules match was not available to them in the build that they were playing. This is actually our first look at the match in play. At the end of the day, it's a normal match, it's a one-on-one match, but there's no disqualification. According to an interview that was done for godisageek.com, I think it was Derek Donahue again who confirmed that the way that the run-ins work is based on your momentum. You can use a payback ability to bring someone on your side out as a run-in. And you can do this up to 3 times within the Bloodline rules match. And it's good to see as well that when your partners do a run-in within these Bloodline rules matches, they don't just stay at ringside and not do anything. It seems like they're all going to be fighting on the outside. So essentially it's just going to be one big war by the time you've got all 6 people who have ran in and you're hopefully getting towards the end of that match. Moving on from the new match types, we're moving into MyRise. So I don't really understand what this screen is showing. There is a character who's walking down a set of stairs. It's essentially just a box, but he seems to have this like glow around him. I don't really know what that's about, and it clips into that table, so I really don't understand like what this is supposed to be. I'm assuming it's maybe part of a cutscene and maybe some like goofy story stuff, but yeah, it doesn't explain itself very well. But we'll move on to the next clip. This is kind of hard to see, but I think this is your character maybe in an NXT environment. On the left there you have Joe Coffey from Gallus, and on the right you've got Shotzi, and all 3 of you are kind of like wearing like NWO themed stuff. So maybe this is like an NWO theme part, segment, chapter within your MyRise storyline. I hate to nitpick, right, but you can clearly see the belt also clipping through that t-shirt, which is such a shame. I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking, I don't know. Here we get our confirmation as well that MyRise is dual gendered. I don't really know how to say this, but yeah, basically it's one story for both genders. So you just pick the character you want to play as, and the story plays out regardless of whatever gender you are. Thanks to the new intergender game modes, it doesn't really matter what gender you are, so the story will play out regardless. This year's MyRise story, we've now got confirmation, is called Mutiny, which kind of makes sense with the description that we saw on the store pages, as they were saying that you're basically going to be teaming up with people like Kevin Owens and Bayley to start in NXT and then take over all of WWE. Just sounds fucking crazy, so okay, whatever that means. Again, going back to this footage is potentially taken earlier in development. Here we've got the Netflix Raw arena, but we've got a plain ring mat with coloured posts, which is not what the Netflix arena looks like. This is a cutscene from MyRise, which has your custom character in the middle of the ring, and it looks like JD McDonough is trying to grab the ropes, but as he grabs the ropes, he actually gets electrocuted, which you can see here. I have no idea what any of this means. It just looks bonkers, and yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out. So moving on from MyRise, we move on to another new feature this year that is returning to the series in 2K25, Chain Wrestling. If you haven't already seen, I thought Smack Talks did a really good explanation of how this gameplay works. The 101 also put up a like 3-minute long video of chain wrestling, which is insane. I was watching BDE's coverage of chain wrestling as well, and I was really surprised to learn how long it can actually go on for. You can actually have chain wrestling on one match for an extended period of time. But I mean, if you've played the chain wrestling before in the previous games, it won't come as a surprise to you as to how it plays. It's very, very similar. It involves you setting up a grapple in the early moments of a singles match. This is not available in any hardcore variant match, so this isn't available in Last Man Standing or ladder or tables, none of that. It's only available in a singles match. It involves you moving the left stick this time to determine what kind of grapple you want to go for, and then at that point it just becomes a bit of a challenge for both players to find that sweet spot. As you rotate the left stick around, you hold it in that position, and that will help you transition, do damage, and move into your next grapple. And as we continue on, we can see a reversal here, because Solo was able to find his sweet spot first and fill his bar. That means that he was able to reverse into his hold, which ended up flipping Roman over and then putting Roman on the kind of defensive there. What's really cool is I let this play out here, but this next reversal here has What's really cool about this as well, this next reverse, I'll let the footage play out shortly. Roman reverses this chain wrestling attempt, and it cuts into the reversal animation of Roman doing a jaw jacker to Solo, but it's been done from the third person camera angle. You can tell from the zooms and the way the camera is attached to Roman that this is actually done in game. So it makes me think that if you were spectating this match as, like, you know, a universe mode sim, or if you just wanted to watch a match in exhibition, you'd be able to kind of control these kind of camera angles from that new third person camera, because it looks like it's not this part, not this part, this part, because the camera like zooms in and out on Roman's face, which looks like it's part of that kind of third person camera. So moving on to the new next feature, moving away from chain wrestling, MyGM. So although MyGM may not be getting huge improvements this year, the new main feature, I guess, is being able to play online with your friends. So you still have the option of playing locally as well as online, but it's good to know that online supports voice chat as well. So if you do play with your friends and you need that voice chat enabled, you don't want to use your phone, you don't want to use Discord, it's good to know that it's all built into the game already there for you. So this screen has been shown all over the internet. I've seen so many people super buzzing for this specific feature. I don't want to go too much into it because I feel like everyone has covered it. But yes, you can have up to 4 players that could be computer controlled or human. I think one of them at least has to be human. But yeah, I mean, theoretically, I think you could do an online GM mode with up to 4 players. I'm assuming you can choose your GM, you can choose your show. Last year they introduced ECW, so you could do SmackDown, Raw, WCW, and ECW. Maybe they're going to add in more this time, things like Evolve, or maybe some other like brands that I can't remember off the top of my head. But they've added in so many more GMs that all have their own unique abilities. So here we can see, going through the list, I'll just list them all off: Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, Stephanie McMahon, Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, Eric Bischoff, Mick Foley, William Regal, Paul Heyman, Teddy Long, Ava, Nick Aldis, Shawn Michaels, Sherry Martel. I have no idea who that is. I don't know who's next to Sherry. My bad. Someone in the comments, I'm sure, will let me know. Armando, Alejandro, Estrada, Mr. Fuji. CM Punk being there, I think, is a bit of an in-joke. There was a comment that he made back in October saying that when he eventually retires from the ring, he would love to take over a place like NXT. I feel like the developers have put Punk there as a bit of a nod to that comment that Punk had made about being able to run NXT. I can also assume that the silhouette on that tile is probably for custom characters. And each one of these GMs that have been added into this game all have their own unique ability, just like previous years. So Mick Foley's is there. It's kind of hard to read, but it basically just says on the opposing brand, 5 superstars who participate in their something will be injured, selected at random, can't be used on the last week of the season usually. But yeah, we don't know what that actually specifically says. Shawn Michaels has one there, that's the Heartbreaker. On an opposing brand, 5 superstars on that roster will lose 1 promo skill next week, selected randomly. Sherry, on an opposing brand, reduce the morale of all of their something by 1 rank next week, presumably all their superstars. And then cuts to a really cool shot of Punk climbing a ladder and jumping off of it. I don't know if that means anything for GM mode people. I really want to get into GM mode, but I really don't like the mechanics that are there. I'm very much a person who prefers the older style GM mode that was in like 2007. The MyGM mode is a little bit too arcadey for me, which is ironic because I kind of prefer more simulation based GM modes. I really don't like the kind of specialties that you have where like brawlers have to fight fighters and giants have to fight cruisers. I just want to be able to make the matches that I want to make. And then if you're trying to run like something realistic, like a CM Punk versus Roman Reigns or something in the video game, I think at the time it was like Roman versus Drew, the video game was telling me that that's like the worst match ever and you should never put that on. But then WWE's doing it in real life. I don't know. I won't get on my high horse here, right? Because there's so much I can go into about my GM mode. But I'm really excited to try it out this year, and I really hope these improvements help the flow of the game. So there's quite a lot to pick out of this screenshot here. Again, considering MyGM, you still have trophies, you still have ranks and seasons, you still have the show logistics, so you'll be able to customize things like the arena, the pyro, fans, the marketing. But they've opened up a lot more match types this time, so you can now do one-on-one, tag team, triple threats, and fatal 4-ways. It doesn't seem like it can go higher than a fatal 4-way, which is a shame, but I'm pretty sure that this is being shown on the kind of normal / easy mode of GM mode. So your roster probably would never really get that big to support something like a 6-man match, which is a shame because it means that things like Elimination Chamber probably are not available in MyGM. But with 4-man matches available, you're now able to do 4-man matches in essentially most of the modes that are available to you in exhibition mode. I think it's good to see things like the Gauntlet Eliminator and Backstage Brawl appear in MyGM this year, which is super cool. The budget on this screen is like 100 million or something. I don't think that's going to be in the game unless these are the only 4 people they hired for this show. I don't think that's accurate. This screenshot actually confirms a lot of returning features this year. Things like being able to set title matches, interference, being able to access the GM assistant that can help you kind of book your way through these shows. Also things like superstar rank, morale, popularity, stamina, also that horrible class system that I was talking about, along with face and heals. And at the bottom there, you've also got the commissioner goal, which is coming back this year. It then cuts into some gameplay footage which showcases the 4-way in action. You got Rhea, Nia, Liv and Blair Davenport. Probably bad timing considering that Blair Davenport was literally just released this week, but hey, they didn't know that at this time. And then it shows another week of SmackDown where you've got this 4-way main event with Roman, Cody, Eric and Lexis King, confirming Lexis King is going to be in the game this year. It's going to cut into gameplay of that 4-way match. You also have these icons on the character banners to show which title they're holding. So in this case, we can see that Roman is the WWE champion and Cody is the United States champion. Looking over to the left, my camera's hiding it. I'm going to move my camera. You can see that the first match, the opener, is CM Punk versus Shawn Spears, thus confirming that Shawn Spears is in the game this year. Now, when I said before that the game, I think that this GM mode capture has been done on easy / normal mode, is because there are 3 matches on the card. If we're going off the features that were available last year, we know that there are higher difficulty modes that allow you to book more matches on your card and have more weeks available in your calendar. And again, going back into the gameplay here, you can see on the left there is Eric Rowan and Lexis King, Cody and Roman, whatever, we already know about them, but cool to see Lexis King make it into the game. Controversially, moving on to MyFaction. I know that a lot of people don't like MyFaction, but it's part of the game and we have to at least look at it. So looking at the crowd t-shirts there, I can obviously see a Wendy Chu t-shirt in the front row there, so presumably that confirms Wendy Chu for the game. But more importantly, we have a older model of Rhea Ripley, which I think was available in last year's 40 Years of WrestleMania. And I think that is Kaylee Ray on the ring mat, but don't quote me on that. It just looks like it might be Kaylee. I guess as well, it's probably worth noting that this NXT arena is not the current NXT arena. This is the NXT arena from last year. I guess this is just confirming the existence of more Persona cards that allow you to unlock older style wrestlers, older costumes, or maybe just some exclusive legends. Like this year we had Scott Steiner, the WCW version of Scott Steiner, and the WCW version of Hulk Hogan locked to MyFaction. On this screen, we get a look at the new Faction Wars display. Apparently they've added in a whole ton of new nodes that have like new things. I never really played this, to be honest. This year will be my first time really trying it out. Judging by the looks of it, it's essentially just you pay like a kind of fee to access the mode. It's kind of like a roguelite, so you just go through the mode unlocking as much as possible, and then at the end of it you get one big reward plus all the things that you've gathered during the run. Don't really have much to say about this, but I'll need to give it a try when I actually get my hands on the game next month. So here we get another shot of MyFaction. This is Andrade hitting a moonsault on, I believe, Cruz del Toro. I could be wrong, but comment down below if you happen to know who that might be. You also get confirmation on the right there, Ashanti the Adonis is back in this game as well. On the left, we can see there are new models there for all 3 people actually. AJ, Dominic and Braun. Braun wearing his new t-shirt that he's currently wearing, I think it says One Big SOB. Dom is sporting a terrible mustache this year. Oh, my face is over it, you can't see, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And AJ Styles is wearing his new black and green tights that I saw some people say could be from Backlash in France. Don't quote me on that, I don't remember where costumes are from. I guess this confirms that the WCW Halloween Havoc arena is in the game. They don't seem to have the Slim Jim sponsorship anymore. I don't know if this is the arena that had the Slim Jim sponsorship, but it's definitely not there anymore if it did. Okay, so introducing World Tour. This is the mode that is replacing the Proving Grounds. So Proving Grounds, I think, was when you took your team and you just did like endless tag team matches. I think it was over 100. I can't even remember. I have to admit, it was a pretty brain dead mode. It wasn't very fun, and it was constant like 5-on-5, 4-on-4 tag team matches. It was so draining. I did probably a week's worth of them and just never touched the mode again. I don't know how anybody made it through those kind of grinds. But at least with this, we have a bit more of a visual aspect of it. It looks cool. I'm curious to see how it works with the different regions, because in the bottom left you can presumably swap your regions, and you can see that there are tours available within certain states, which I presume is your match listings in that area. So this is still within the World Tour mode. You can see there you've got your 4 men's thing, and okay, so you're choosing 2 characters to fight with, which is very cool. On the bottom there as well, you can see house rules and win conditions, which is so much better than last year, because last year it just said, hey, by the way, there's a stipulation, and then if you wanted to know what the stipulation was, you had to like pause the game and find out. Now it just tells you straight up, although it doesn't actually tell you what the house rules is. It just says that you're in the divers training ground now, so you'll find dive attacks useful here. Don't know what that means specifically, but maybe it's a challenge. Maybe you have to complete certain objectives to win the mode. I don't know. And then as the trailer closes out, we have more confirmation on the island. Although we still don't actually understand really what the island is, other than the fact that it is NBA The City coming to WWE. So we have confirmation here that what I thought was originally called the Hall of Fame, it's called the Hall of Legends, and it has these bronze statues of Dusty Rhodes outside. There is another person standing behind Dusty, but I can't see who it is. And the whole island is overlooked by this gigantic Roman Reigns bronze gold statue. And you have all these like NPCs walking around wearing various wrestling shirts. Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say about the island other than the fact that we don't really know anything about it, except for the fact that it exists. And then again, confirmation of your 3 different versions. I'm going to create a video that goes through all 3 different versions shortly, and differences that are in each version. And that's going to be it for the Rule Beyond the Ring trailer breakdown. Did I manage to find anything that you didn't know about before? Have you found something that I didn't even mention? If so, please drop a comment down below. Let me know what you're most excited to see in WWE 2K25. If you did enjoy the video, also please consider liking, because it really helps push the channel and push the video out to more people. And as the channel continues to grow, I really appreciate everyone who has stopped by, subscribed, commented, and liked the videos. It's just been an insane couple weeks, months for the channel, so yeah, it's been crazy. So thank you so much for watching. That's going to be us for today. I hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.